All right, you're welcome back. It is talk time, and we have as guest in the studio Ola Akpino, Deputy State Chairman of the PDP. We're looking at the crisis, of course, brewing the PDP and why they... Well,
is it still brewing?
It's not brewing. It's actually, I mean, it's snowballing into something else as far as some people are concerned. Good morning to you, sir, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good morning.
Now, what do you make of assertions that, you know, the presidential ambition of some northern leaders of the PDP might just be at the root of this crisis that, you know, the PDP is experiencing now? Is that what it is?
Well, I don't... Well, it's natural that politicians should aspire. So ambition has always been the recurring decimal for every action a politician takes. It is about interest. Politics is about interest. So if some politician in the northern hemisphere of this country wants to be the next president, well, that is legitimate. But then the party is usually the platform with which you actualize your ambition. And I don't think any reasonable aspirant will want to destroy the platform on which he hoped to stand for an election. So I would want to disagree to some extent that it is this ambition that is driving all this crisis. I think what is happening is, I don't want to call it rascality, you know, because we have a constitution. Our constitution was not written in Greek. It was written in English language, and the wordings are not ambiguous. They are written in a way that literally you can give meaning to the provisions of this constitution. And if you look at it, we have a convention in 2012, you know, where Alhaji Bamanga took off from the northeastern part of the country, was elected our party chairman. Along the line, the man resigned. And our constitution says that when an officer resigns from office or is removed for whatever reason, and he has not completed his term, you go back to that zone that produces it, that produces that person. You bring a replacement. And that was what brought Mazu into the picture. To replace,
continue.
Complete the tenure of Alhaji Bamanga Tuko.
Right.
But for reasons only known to God, Mazu Tuko could not complete the term.
He too, just like Bamanga Tuko, was forcefully removed.
Was it just, was the reasons just known to God? It was all known to the Nigerians. You lost an election, sir. Your party lost a major election.
We lost an election.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we lost an election, and Mazu was accused of not doing enough to work for the party, and he has to resign, which is normal anyway.
Okay,
then that brings in Sheriff.
Yes, we'll allow you to talk further on that, Mr. Akpino. But let's bring in our other guest, Bernard Miko. He's in our Abuja studio. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me this morning.
Thank you for coming.
All right, so maybe you want to, throw your first salvo, and let's get your thoughts about what's going on with the PDP right now, where it looks like the center, cannot hold.
You see, there is a general consensus that the impunity in the party has reached its crescendo. And this led to the simultaneous convention that was held in Abuja and Port Harcourt. But what we have seen in recent times, without going much into history, is a plethora of court cases. You know, within the Lagos division, you can see that they have two cases, one on the 14th of May and the other one on the 20th of May, making preservative orders as to the candidature of Sheriff as the national chairman. Then on the 23rd of May, there was an expert order made by the Port Harcourt division of the Court of the Federal High Court. You know, this was there was also on the 31st of this thing another order again by Justice Okonaban in Abuja. So you have 3 court orders as against one. So
right.
What are we talking of? You see, what are we talking? There is confusion in the party, and INEC, in its wisdom, I don't think they will respect any of this. The party is once off. I think people supporting McAfee should encourage him to pursue the judicial process. So also we in the Sheriff Camp will do, because it was the same person or persons that brought both that lured the sheriff into this race and also lured McAfee and sold this matter to McAfee, and now they are sitting in their houses and people are, the party will be worse for it.
Okay.
I think this will mean this is will be very good for our political development, because when these matters are settled in court, it will lead to a greater sense of development in the political system. All
right, gentlemen, just hold your thoughts there. We'll continue this discussion, but let's bring the story to you. The People's Democratic Party Caretaker Committee Chairman Ahmed McCarthy is appealing to Alimadu Sharif to sheath his sword and toe the path of peace in a bid to find a lasting solution to the leadership crisis rocking the party.
McCarthy made the appeal during a courtesy call on him by some party officials in Abuja. He's worried the crisis might affect the party's performance in the Edo State governorship election and urged the Sharif to embrace dialogue.
To once again call upon the former chairman, my colleague and friend Senator Alimadu Sharif, and those associated with him to take the path of dialogue and not to do anything further that will cause, PDP mishaps in Edo State. As INEC said, they require 21 days notice before any party can conduct primaries. Even given that we did not conduct primaries, by the time Alimadu Sharif was talking of conducting primaries,
all right. Meanwhile, Alimadu Sharif doesn't seem to be prepared to back down and allow for a peaceful resolution of a crisis rocking the party.
Now, Sharif says he will continue to wage war despite a recent appeal by his main rival, Ahmed McCarthy, to embrace dialogue. He made his stance known when some state chairmen who had earlier paid allegiance to McCarthy suddenly made a U-turn to drum support for him.
The 20-something chairman that they are talking. At this level, I think we should be sincere with ourselves to build our party. Nothing, no propaganda will make what is not right to be right. You either follow the rule of law or you forget about it. And you either go on the side of truth or you will be continual lying, because if you do one lie, you have to create 10 in order to look like truth.
PDP is a strong party. Every Nigerian today is looking up to PDP.
All right, there you go. You have McCarthy saying there should be dialogue, at least for the sake of the election coming up in Edo State. And Sharif says, okay, truth cannot be forced. So who do we believe?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that we're having this situation. I want to liken it to the biblical 2 women who are fighting over the paternity of a child. And King Solomon told them, okay, I'm going to divide this kid into 2. So you take half, the other take half. The other woman said, God bless your judgment. The real mother of the child said, no. Let the child be when the child grows up. So from their utterances, you can deduce who actually have the love of the party.
In
You
your
want
own
to tell us
opinion,
exactly who this is?
Well, of course, Alimadu Sharif is not here with good intention. Those who brought him doesn't have good intention, and he has been exhibiting that. Of course, for those of us who are founding members of this party, we're pained that somebody who knows next to nothing about the history of the party, who knows next to nothing about what the intentions of the founding fathers were, was just brought in by some desperate young men who do not want to crawl before they start running. Indiscipline brought us to this level, I must admit. It is painful discussing what should be an internal matter of the party in the public, but then PDP is of interest to Nigeria. We are the biggest opposition party now. So Nigerians are interested in how we democratize our system if we're going to offer democracy. You see, all this talk about courts, I'm amazed at the other man on the other side talking about 3 court injunctions and 3 court. You are talking about expertise or injunction, and another court has made a ruling. Of course, you don't. We are not contesting. We are not doing an election that, okay, I've had 3 court judgments on my side, you had 1 on this side. That is not the issue. The issue is that one of the court has gone into the fundamentals of the whole thing, the Port Harcourt High Court, and it has explained the reason, because the Constitution is very clear. The National Convention is empowered to do and undo, is empowered to set up committee. I can quote the relevant section for you.
Yeah, but there were hardly any congresses, you know, before this Port Harcourt Convention. How can you really have
What do you mean there were hardly? Are you a member of our party?
No, but I mean, we do observe what's been going on with the PDP.
Please tell us about those congresses.
There are congresses all over Nigeria. If there were no congresses, Alimadu Sharif was the chairman as at the time the National Executive Committee convoked the convention in Port Harcourt. On what basis was that convention based on? You cannot go to a convention without delegates from the 36 states. Publications were made. People were sent all over the 36 states of the Federation to conduct congresses in every state, and it was done. And after that, we moved to Port Harcourt. Alimadu Sharif bought form to contest, to recontest, because his term had lapsed.
That's for the Port Harcourt Convention.
For the Port Harcourt Convention. He bought a form and he appeared before the screening committee. It was only when he got a win that a vote of no confidence might be moved against him because of certain information, classified information, that were not available to those who were prodding him. It was at that point that he withdrew and addressed a press conference saying that he had cancelled or postponed the convention, a power that he doesn't have. It is NEC, National Executive Committee, that is vested with the power to suspend a convention. No chairman of the party has such power. So, and to the extent that he has subjected himself to the process which he chaired as the then national chairman. So, what are we talking about?
All right, let's go to our guest, Bernard Miko, PDP chieftain. Of course, he's of the. It's obvious he belongs to the Sharif camp. Sharif keeps talking about the rule of law and how he likes to abide by the rule of law and keep to the constitution of the party, and the conventions that actually guide the political parties. Would you say that in the light of this, that Sharif is truly keeping to the rule of law, especially when another court, Federal High Court, insists that McAfee is the rightful well,
the caretaker committee.
Caretaker, yes.
I think the problem we are seeing in the party today is a problem between impunity, anarchy, and the rule of law. You see, this, both McAfee and Sheriff were lured in by the same persons. But if I may hear my colleague in Lagos studio, he said that he was trying to say that when he got wind of the vote of no confidence that was supposed to have been passed on Sheriff, he should avert himself to Article 47, subsection 3, that says that any vote of confidence, any motion of vote of confidence must be notified. You know, the stakeholders must be notified 60 days before it can be moved either on the state congress or at the convention. I wonder why, when they knew that they were going to move a confidence motion on the convention, they didn't advertise it. No stakeholder was informed, and they just did these things whimsically, just to ambush people. But even before then, there was a preservative order made by the Lagos Division of Federal High Court on the 14th of May, and the second one also on the 20th of May. But you see, I have listened to conversations by people on this matter. They seem to be towing the moral angle without looking strictly at the law. That is why I said that it is a conflict between anarchy and the rule of law. But my suggestion in profiling this political solution is that, you see, we have seen what has happened in the Britain, advanced democracies, where once you feel that you have made a mistake, you resign. I saw the two governors that brought in two of these candidates, both McAfee and this, say that they made a mistake. If they made a mistake as well, I think they are the ones to resign from these positions, and the pressure will be put on both McAfee and
Mr. Miko
to also tow the moral angle. Otherwise, I would suggest that let these matters be resolved in an appellate court, so that our political system, will be further enhanced.
All right, Mr. Miko, such interesting postulations there, but I will be the devil's advocate here and mention Governor Fayoshe's name, because he has made a statement on the pages of the newspapers that he was one of those who wanted Limadu Sheriff to come in as the chairman, and that but at the end of the day, when he realized that his chairmanship was going to disintegrate the party, he had to remove his own support, that he would rather support the party instead of support an individual. Okay, so you're asking Governor Fayoshe, for instance, to resign as the governor of Ekiti State? Is that what you're saying?
Of course, there are terrible things some of these governors are doing in their states, and they pass the blame to the citizens of the state. You see, they have no business begin to dictate what happens in the party. So if for any reason they have made this terrible mistake, I think they should resign only because they made that mistake. They use their position as governors to begin to dictate. People saying that Sheriff should resign, I think they should talk of those who brought them, because I'm sure you know that it was the same person that brought two of them. So they cannot just hold this battle to two individuals and go back to their houses and sleep.
All right, and speaking of the state governors, it looks like, all right, not to cut you off there, back to the studio here, it looks like the governors are wielding some kind of undue powers. Yes, and
well, I do not
this.
really want to agree in total. You see, there's a vacuum, you know. PDP has been in power for 16 good years, and we have the villa. And the villa has been the sustenance of the party in terms of command, you know. Whenever there's going to be any crisis in the party, the president calls everybody in, and, you know, we just lost 16 good years and we never prepared for it. Of course, the next level of leadership that will want to fill that vacuum will be our governor and probably the National Assembly caucus, because these are the people that are now in government. It is well expected of them to play roles, but that depends on the kind of roles they want to play now, whether it is in the negative or in the positive.
Because they seem to be causing a lot of confusion. Initially, they were supportive of the sheriff. All of a sudden,
you know,
they do a U-turn.
I did say something.
Yes.
That the crisis we're having, sometimes, let me locate it to some inordinate ambition of some of these young chief executives who are in a hurry. They were in a hurry to dictate the pace, but then, no matter how old you are still a child to your father. As long as your father, your parents are still alive, you are still a kid. Even though you yourself, you are now a mother.
But is it wrong for the fathers to step aside so that the young ones can actually take over?
When young men start advocating that, oh, I want to, nobody's, of course, all these founding fathers are not contesting for governors, they are not contesting for anything, they are not running for anything, but then, they are the one who laid the foundation of the party. They know the corners, the nooks and crannies of the house. So their experience in what they can see while sitting down, young men, even when you climb up a 25-story building, you might not be able to see it.
But the young people have the vision to move.
They have the vision, but
the
vision of every young man or young man, you know, must be modified by the counsel of the elders. Because you see, we young men were always in a hurry to get things done. But the older men know where the portals are.
So the fact that those governors now made a U-turn, is it because of the council of sages?
It is like because they now saw the council, they saw the potholes, they saw the trap of what their action will cause them. So, and I think it is not too late to make a U-turn.
All right.
You know, for me, I do not see them as being too, but then they did certain things wrong, but they have retraced their steps, which is okay by me.
Okay, Bernard Miko, this is to you now. Your faction, that's your the deputy chairman, Cairo Ojobo, please pardon me if I didn't pronounce the name correctly, said, Alimadu Sharif said he will want to step aside. There's no problem with him stepping down, but that he doesn't want to be disgraced out of the office, that he would rather convene a convention and elect somebody else to be the chairman of the party. Would you confirm, can you confirm this for us, please?
Let me tell you this. I have had conversations with Sharif, and Sharif is not desperate to remain in the party office or to become chairman of this party. But Sharif was approached for 2 days. They begged him. The same people who went to McAfee to come and he refused. But when he later gave in, then this thing started. But let me also inform you that McAfee, within seconds, he was approached in Port Harcourt Convention, for which he never prepared, you know, agreed immediately. He didn't think of discussing with his political associates. There was a parallel convention going on in Abuja. He didn't think of discussing with his family.
So the contention here, Mr. Miko,
at any point,
the contention here, Mr. Miko, to my mind, is also the issue of morality. Because he said he doesn't want to be disgraced out of the office.
Yes,
and according to you, you would rather your party listen to court orders instead of go the path of morality. Isn't it?
You see, if you talk of morality, we have to go into the precedents in the country. You don't rule any country by moral, and even morality has its own nuances in culture, has its nuances in religion. What could be moral in the north could not be moral in the south. So which morality are we talking about in this case?
All right, well, just hold on there. At this point, let's bring in somebody else. While the Sheriff and McAfee camps of the People's Democratic Party are busy tearing themselves apart, a member of the youth wing of the party has declared himself chairman.
The wing have threatened to take over the party should both factions fail to mend fences.
Now, this means the opposition party now has 3 chairmen.
Interesting.
Leader of this party, that have been a member of this party from the inspection, with the crisis rocking the party, I hereby declare myself as the acting chairman of this party from now. Aderemi Olusegun is the new chairman of PDP. Both the chairman of the caretaker, Senator Ahmed Makarufi, and Dr. Sharif, from now should stay away from the party secretariat until further notice.
You are right.
And hereby declare that in a short time, the youth will tell you the date and the time for our next convention.
All right, it looks like the youth are ready to take over. Since it looks like
I'm concerned.
they're jesters.
They're jesters.
Why did you say that?
They're jesters, you see, because let me talk about what he was talking about. Legal, said no morality. But the fact is that Sheriff has ceased to be the chairman of the party from May 21st. Because, like I told you, he came in to complete the Babanga Tukor's tenure. He was never elected in any convention. It was only Babanga Tukor that was elected in a convention.
So both Moazu and Sheriff came in.
They only came in from the Northeast to complete Babanga Tukor's tenure. So from 21st of May, Sheriff ceases to be the chairman of the party. And I told you to the extent that he even bought nomination form to recontest and appeared before the screening committee, confirms the fact that he subjected himself to the process only to chicken out at a time when he realized he would not be elected again.
All right, so let's even shift
attention.
As for this young man,
you know, as for this young man, I don't know the basis. You know, this is not. I wouldn't know whether it is a military administration that we are running when a sergeant or an officer can go on here and said, I hereby disband this and that. Those ones are, the issues are before the court, you know. I wouldn't even be talking if not for the fact that the Port Harcourt has made a ruling, you know, because I wouldn't want to run into contempt of court. But the Port Harcourt has made a ruling now.
Speaking of contempt of court, Makarfi himself only recently said that Ali Modu Sheriff should actually be arrested for contempt of court. He insists that he is still the chairman, and as a matter of fact, is planning another primary in the case of Edo State, you know, and he has a candidate that he wants to install. But in the light of all of this, I mean, let me go to Bernard Miko in Abuja there. Can the PDP really be described as an opposition party with all of this that is going on? I'm just wondering, and I'm sure the average Nigerian is looking, you know, thinking, in what ways, you know, has the PDP really been able to perform its role legitimately as the largest party, the largest opposition party in Nigeria? And how will this really affect the fortunes of the PDP, you know, towards 2019? Bernard Miko.
Yeah. First of all, let me comment on the declaration by the Mr. Deremi at the party headquarters. You see, that shows the level of anarchy in the party, where the rule of law is not being adhered to. Then secondly, you see, every political party in history has its own divisions, you know, internal divisions. But what we are seeing in PDP today is because we're in opposition. This division has existed, you know, for the past 10 years. APC today, they have their own divisions within the party. And it will not be obvious because they have a president. Even in America, where we copy these things from, under George Washington, the first president of America, you had the Secretary of State, who was Secretary of State James Madison, who was supporting the Federalist, anti-Federalist papers, and you also have the Secretary of Treasury, who was for the Federalists. So these are all the beauties of democracy, you know, dissenting opinions, and when they are harmonized, it comes to this thing. I know that the apprehension of youth in Nigeria today is that the PDP as an opposition party will die. These are political institutions. Political parties don't die. You see, if you look at Article 63, subsection 1 of the party, says that the party has a perpetual succession, and as an institution, it can only be weak or passive. It will never die. It can transform itself through mergers, coalitions, and it can even change its name. So let me assure Nigerians that the PDP will never die. All they see is that trying to recoalesce itself into a strong, united and vibrant opposition party.
All right, Mr. Bernard Miko, many thanks for your time on TVC Breakfast this morning. We appreciate you, but we still have Mr. Akpino here with us. So let's talk about Edo election. What do you foresee will play out if Alimodu Sharif doesn't sheath his sword?
Well, for the Edo election, you heard McCarthy. The rule is very simple. For you to conduct a primary, you need to give INEC 21 days notice, which was given by McCarthy-led caretaker committee at the primary, which produces Pastor Eze Yamo as the gubernatorial candidate. Only for McCarthy to wake up from the wrong side of his bed, Sharif to wake up from the wrong side of his bed and saying he wanted to conduct another primary. Well, all those things, as far as I'm concerned, will be settled by the law. You see, we are not in a banana republic. You know, Nigeria is not and will never be a banana republic. You know, as young as I am, I have witnessed so many administrations in this country. I have witnessed a situation whereby some people felt, oh, Nigeria is going to do this, is going to do that. During Abacha, there were apprehensions all over the place. Oh, this man is going to kill everybody, but who got killed at the end of the day?
So you believe that all of this that's going on will make PDP stronger at the end of the day?
I'm even happy it's happening at this time. It's happening as early as
But this is happening at the expense of providing a credible opposition.
We are still providing credible opposition.
How are you doing that?
You see, we are still providing credible opposition. Talking about credible opposition, you are talking about analyzing and criticizing or appraising and profiling solutions. Of course, we've been doing that as different fora. Like when your correspondent called me yesterday and I said, why don't you let us talk about economy? Why don't you let us talk about something different? Why are we talking about rascality that is going on in PDP now? It is rascality. And like he has said, this rascality is not limited to PDP. The APC is having its own fair share.
All right,
and
we'll
all
have
the other parties too are going to have their own share of the party. In fact, some party had gone under. Like AMPP, that has gone under. This sheriff played a very vital role in that. But it will succeed in being the undertaker of PDP.
All right.
God willing.
We'll have to say thank you so much. Ola Akpino, Deputy State Chairman of the PDP, and of course Bernard Miko, who joined us from our Abuja studios, talking about the PDP's unending war.